Hey everyone, how you doing? My name's Jose Juarbe, founder and owner of Kap Rate Group Commercial, and I want to talk about this silent crash in commercial. And they say it's happening now, and if you ask me, it's been happening for a little over a year. But yes, correct, it is silent. I'll give you an example of what a silent crash sells for. About 8-9 months ago, a REIT that had $2 billion worth of real estate sold their portfolio for $258 or $252 million. That's almost a 75% discount. And this was 8 months ago that I read this article. And right now, people are agents and investors call it I think Ken McElroy calls it a freeze, and that's exactly where we're at a standstill, right? He calls it a freeze. I call it a standstill, stalemate, where banks don't want the keys back, and investors are willing to give the keys back. They got these buildings, they're unstabilized, they're losing money, they're ready to walk away from their initial deposit / down payment, but the banks don't want to take the responsibilities of these big multifamily / retail strip centers / office buildings. They don't want to take the responsibilities. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars they would be responsible for and managing until they get these assets off their books. There is a silent crash going on. Nothing has hit the market yet, but we all know that pricing is going to get back down to, I believe, the 2008 pricing. If you look at what happened in 2008, which most people, if you ask them, they blame it on mortgage companies. But if you look at what really happened, it was just policy change, right? They changed the policy, they changed the guidelines, they changed the lending guidelines. That's all it was. Why did all the different mortgage companies close down all at the same time? Because the lending guideline was changed, okay? Who could you lend to when the guideline reads that you can't be taller than 3 feet in order to get a loan, okay? So that's just a sarcastic example, but the guidelines were that ridiculous, and we could not lend money during those times, which is what created the crash, right? So again, we have to follow policy, because policy is what leads these crashes. And at the moment, you see that with the printing of money that has occurred in the last 10 years, it has deflated the dollar and inflated assets. And now we have to see what's going to happen with the new Federal Reserve Board president that's going to change in the middle of May. I think it's May 15th. If he decides to lower rates, then I believe we're going to go into a hyperinflation with assets. But again, if we had real human beings making these decisions, right, instead of REITs and private equity making these purchases, we would see that the market would truly slow down. But it's difficult to stop these conglomerates, right, when they make money on fees. They don't make money on making good investments, right? That's the battle. That is the battle. So yes, there is a silent crash. There's really 190 different REITs. All of them are in bad shape. Even the ones that have really good leaders, they've taken a hit. And if you ask me, I don't get it, because they're really smart. But what I don't understand is, how could you not, if you know that you can't get a 30-year mortgage, fixed mortgage, I should say, if you know that, right? Why would you risk buying hundreds of millions of dollars in a multifamily knowing that you're on an interest-only 2, 5, 7, or 10-year loan? Why would you take that risk? And I'll tell you why. Because it's not their money. They're spending other people's money, and they make a ton of money on fees when they spend other people's money. And when that portfolio that had $2 billion worth of real estate sold for $252 million, excuse my language, but they didn't give a shit, okay? Investors lost all that money. And if you ask me, this is all an inside job. I don't want to get into that, but how could you benefit from this, okay? So if I were you, I'd keep your eye on the market. And you want to find properties that are stabilized. You want to find properties that were purchased and fixed, right? And you want to find these properties and you want to be able to buy them at a huge discount. This is the time where the transfer of wealth happens, okay? So I am the owner, founder of Kap Rate Group Commercial. I'm able to fund Kap Rate Group Commercial comfortably and retired here in the state of Florida. And I'm able to do that because of the 2008 wealth transfer crash that occurred. I was on the front lines of that, and I was an ignorant young man that just got lucky. I was just a hard worker and got lucky. And I was able to put a really nice portfolio together, and I'm ready. I got my boots, not on, but I got them at home. And the minute the market crashes, I will put them boots back on, because there's nothing more savior than a beautiful deal. Hey guys, watch the market, because it's going to tumble. Again, Jose Juarbe from Kap Rate Group Commercial. Go to joinkaprategroup.com. I don't want you to join. Just go there. Get data, get information, read our articles, learn about what's going on. And if you're a commercial agent and you're tired of giving up 20 and 30%, check out our plans. We offer 100%. Over and out.